Hello and welcome back to my lessons on SketchUp for Schools and and SketchUp Make and SketchUp Pro. This particular assignment I've had to record a few different times because I find that SketchUp for Schools works significantly different than SketchUp Make and SketchUp Pro, and in ways that have been very frustrating. So I need to discuss those things with you as well. Today we're primarily going over use of the tape measure, and specifically using the use of a program or something called the Follow Me tool. Okay, let's get started here by opening up a new file. Once again, I'm using decimal inches for the use of my class. I recommend you follow along and do the same so that your work kind of comes out the same as mine. I'm going to start out by going over here, and I'm going to choose the circle tool. I'm going to click, let go, type 24, enter. And thus I've created a 48-inch in diameter circle or 24-inch radius circle. I'm going to go to scenes here, and I'm going to select this so that I'm looking straight down at it. Okay. I'm going to take the same circle tool, and I'm going to find the center, and I'm going to move over to the right so that I'm kind of lining these things up. I'm going to click and drag again, type 24, enter, and create a second one. Now, took my hands off the mouse. The first circle I drew is both of these at the moment have 24 sides to them, so they're not actually circles. They're polygons. But at this moment, this particular moment, when I have created the circle and I haven't done anything else, I can change other aspects of the circle. I can change the number of sides on the circle is what I'm going to do right now. I could also, by the way, change the radius at the point. I can do 30, enter, 50, enter, 24, enter. I can keep changing that as many times as I want until I do something else. Now, I can also change the number of sides, but as soon as I change the number of sides, I don't believe I can go back and change the radius. So I'm going to do 12s is what I'm going to type, and that's going to change the number of sides. Okay, and then once again, 3s would turn it into a triangle. 24s brings it. Oops. Oh, that's interesting. I was able to change the. I can toggle back between radius and numbers of sides. Simply typing the S determines that. So I'm going to do 24, enter, and I'm going to do 12s, enter, making it a 24-inch in a radius circle with 12 sides is what I'm looking for. So 12s, enter. Okay. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab a polygon, which is this one right here. I'm going to click on the polygon. I'm going to find my way to the middle. I'm going to scooch over this way. And I'm going to do the same thing. So this is 24, enter. 24, enter. That's interesting. That did not work the way I wanted. I Control Z and Control S. So I'm going to choose here, choose a polygon, click. I'm not clicking anywhere. I'm hovering, going over to the right, going like this. There we go. 24, enter is the radius. And I'm going to change it to 5 sides, S. So I type 24, enter, 5s, enter. Okay. Should have gotten rid of that a long time ago. So now I have 3 shapes. One is two are circles. This one has 24 sides. This one has 12 sides. One of them is a polygon, which has 5 sides. Okay. Now, they're obviously all polygons. But in terms of SketchUp, these two are considered circles. This one is considered a polygon. Now, I'm going to use these circles to create shapes using a Follow Me tool. First off, I'm going to rotate into this position here. And I'm going to, and if you're not sure how I did that, I pushed down on the scroll wheel to create the orbiting tool there. I'm going to go to the polygon here, and I'm going to choose the rectangle, and I'm going to draw a rectangle up here, and I'm going to give this dimensions. This rectangle I'm going to make it 10, 20, enter. 10 by 20. Now, I can go, no, I don't want that tall, I want it wide, and I can go, okay, well, that's probably 20 comma 10. Don't know what happened there. 20 comma 10, enter. Okay, I can change my mind as many times as I want to. 14 comma 300. I can change my mind as many times as I want to at this point. Until I click somewhere else, I could do that. But I'm going to go back to 10 comma 20, enter, to get this kind of rectangle. Okay. Now I'm going to select this thing by triple clicking is what I did. I'm going to grab this endpoint right here, this bottom left-hand endpoint, and I'm going to put that in the center of this circle by hovering there until the center is highlighted for me, and then I'm going to click in the middle. Okay? All right, now I'm going to make a chess piece. I'm going to start out by grabbing, now we're going to talk about tape measure for a little bit. I'm going to grab the tape measure, and I'm going to create a chess piece. So I'm going to make a pawn. So I'm going to come up here to the top, and I'm going to come down, and I'm going to decide how far, there's a ball on the top of a pawn, and I'm trying to decide how big I want to make that ball. So I'm going to make that, 4 inches tall and 2 inches wide, because I'm actually creating half of the pawn, and I'm going to spin it around in a circle. So that'll make sense later on. If you're confused right now, just roll with it for a little bit. So I came down 4 inches and I went in 2 inches, and I'm going to grab an arc tool. I'm going to grab the, why does it say unblocked plane? Click here. Don't know why it's saying something about a plane here, but I want to choose that arc tool. I'm going to click in the top here, and I'm going to click somewhere not quite. Actually, I'm going to do this. So this measurement here was that, 2 inches? So we're going to go 1 inch in here. So this was this is 2 inches down, or 4 inches down, 1 inch here, another inch right there. I'm going to now grab that tool right there. I'm going to click here, and I'm going to move out to this line right there. Now, boy, this is really driving me nuts. This tool stuff is just very difficult on this particular version. I'm going to click here, I'm going to click here, I'm going to go out to right there. I want you to notice that I can also, by the way, change the number of sides of an arc too. I can do 2s, enter, and it's going to do that. Right, so I'm going to do, this is like a half circle, so I'm going to do 12s, enter. If I do too many sides, if I want to try to make this really circular, so I do 1,000 sides, then I'm enlarging the file too much, and the computer's going to have a problem doing the next thing I want to do. So you want to be careful about trying to make this thing too smooth in your process for perfection, because you end up creating a problem later on. All right, so I'm going to now take the tape measure, and I'm going to come over this way another 2 inches. I'm going to come down this way 1 inch. Now you don't know what it is I'm doing right now, but I do, and it'll make sense later on. I'm going to come down here another inch, and I'm going to come, so I'm going to come out this way, come down here, and do another inch here. Now when you're dragging, you want to make sure you're pulling in the correct direction. Right now it's a red direction. If you're not careful, you might end up pulling in a weird direction. I could also come all the way across here to make sure I'm pulling in the correct direction. I'm going to do the same thing. So these two 1 inch, or they're 2 inches, right? No, they're 1 inch. I'm going to come up this way 1 inch, this way 1 inch. Oops, 1, enter. And I'm going to, that's where I'm going to leave it right there. So I'm going to come over from here, I'm going to go over to here, and down, 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 and down. And I escaped to get rid of that. Now I'm going to click here, 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 here. Oops, you can see I missed that spot, so I'm going to Control Z so that I can click from here to there, and then to there. Now I'm going to go back and grab that arc tool again. I'm going to click here and there, and I'm going to click right there. Okay. So now I'm going to erase here, and I'm going to erase that. I'm going to go over here to this thing right here, which is the glasses. Scroll down to delete all guides, and here's what I've got. This is kind of a silhouette, half silhouette of a pawn, a chess piece pawn. Okay. Close that up, which was my ultimate goal. Now I'm going to delete this surface here, and I'm going to delete this surface here, but I'm not going to delete that surface, and that's just so I can demonstrate something later on in terms of why you may or may not want to delete a surface when you're doing this kind of process. And this is where we come up with the real difference in SketchUp Make. And for that purpose, I'm going to create something in here, quick and simple. So you can, Control Z. I'm going to create a simplified version of what I had just did. I'm not going to be as complicated here, but because I'm just trying to show you a difference between these two files, or two programs. All right, so we have some random shape over here. Now let's go back to SketchUp for Schools for a second. Actually, let's stick with SketchUp Make for a moment. With SketchUp Make, I can click here. I can click on the Follow Me tool, which is this tool right here. I can click here and click there, and it works beautifully. Where it goes around in a circle, it follows the path, nice and easy peasy, no big deal whatsoever. It works great. Okay. If I can also grab here and try to go around in a circle, but it really does not work very well as well, and you end up with these issues where things didn't work correctly. But it works very nicely where you can click this, and click that, and it works very nicely in SketchUp Make. I figured out how to do this in SketchUp for Schools, but it was not easy to figure out, or it was confusing. In order to do that process in SketchUp for Schools, you're going to need to go to the push-pull here. You need to select this so that it is sitting right there and easily able to be clicked on. Now I'm going to grab the selection tool, and once again I've got that able to be clicked on right there. I can select here, then select here, then select there, and it'll work. Let me show you what doesn't work. I'm going to take a moment to do something here, which I want you to do as well if you're following along. I want you to select this object here. You click on the bottom corner with the control button. I pushed the control button as I was clicking. I'm going to put this there, control click. Also going to put it over here so that I have one in each of these things. So once again, I can click here, click there, and it works. But if I had this thing, say on the push-pull tool right there, and I grab the selection tool and I click here, and then I come over here and I click, and I click, and I click, it doesn't work. That was very frustrating when I was trying to figure out why that was happening. But at this point, something's weird's going on, Control Z. So what you need to do is you need to have this thing ready to be able to click right there if you want to do that. So I'm going to click here, click, and click. It has to be done in that motion. Okay? Now, when you're choosing a path, you can do a couple different things. You can just click a surface and it's going to run around the bounding edges of that surface. You could also double click, choose the whole thing, and that's going to work fine as well. You could also just select which sides you want to. That's weird. Why is this is not correct? It's like it's grouped. It's acting like it's grouped, but it should not be grouped. Oh, there we go. So now I can select. Oh, it's not letting me select individual sides. All right. Well, I was hoping that I was going to be able to select an individual side, but it's selecting the entire surface. So we're going to ignore that aspect of this for right now. So you can select the surface, select the Follow Me tool, and click on here, and it's going to follow. Let's discuss these three differences. As you can see, the more sides you have on this circle right here, the smoother it looks. This is still faceted like a diamond, but it's smoother than this one is. This one is easiest to see looking down at how faceted the sides are. But you'll also notice that there are no lines anywhere on here. There's no line right here. You can see there's a line that could be drawn right there. It's not there. And the reason it's not there is because these are both circles. This one, however, was done on a polygon, so that line is showing. So that's the only difference in this process of using a circle versus a polygon, is when you do the Follow Me tool, these lines are going to show up if you did this on a polygon. Okay? Now the other difference here is that you'll remember I deleted that surface and I deleted that surface, but I didn't delete this surface. You will notice here on this one here, if I look at the bottom, it's a solid bottom. But if I zoom out and look over at this one, the bottom has been deleted. Now this can be fixed by doing what's called healing the edge. You can click here, and it's going to heal that edge, and that's fine. But just so you know, the way to avoid having to do that in the future is to delete the surface before you wrap it around. All right, let me Control Z. This is what, for the purposes of my students, this is the image that I'm going to want them to take, is a picture of these three chess pieces. That's the first photograph that my students will need to take. The second photograph my students will take will be regarding the other use of the other demonstration I'd like to do with the Follow Me tool. For that one, we're going to start with a rectangle, and I'm going to have you draw a rectangle and type 24, 24, enter. And we're going to pull that up. I'm going to show you another tool as well. Pull that up 2 inches. Let's learn about this other tool, which is probably, here it is, the offset tool right here. That's going to create a smaller shape like of what it is you're using the offset tool on, and you can tell it how far you want it to be from the edge. So if I type 2, enter, it's Control Z, click 2, enter. What that did is it made it so that this is 2 inches from this edge right here. 2 inches. Okay? So I'm going to offset that, and then I'm going to pull that up 2 inches. Okay? Now, I'm going to put a shape. In my woodshop class, we use a router to do roundovers, to run a router around this and round over these edges and such if we need to. For the purpose of SketchUp, we're going to do something similar to that, in the sense that the top one here, I'm going to have you take the tape measure and come in 1/2 inch or 1 inch. Let's do 1 inch. 1, enter. And down here in the blue direction, 1, enter. And then grab a roundover tool, or this tool, an arc tool, and do that. And I'm also going, I click, I come up this way until it tells me tangent to edge. Okay? And then down on the bottom, we're going to do something similar but slightly different. I'm going to have you come in, let's do 3/8 and 3/8, and let's put a straight line right there. So we're going to put we're going to bevel that edge, and we're going to round over this edge. Okay, that's a 3/8 inch bevel and a 1 inch round over is what we're going to put on these two shapes here. All right, I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to go to click here, and I'm going to delete guides. I'm going to close this. And first off, we're going to select, we're going to do this in 2 different ways. One way that's easy and one way that's hard. First, I'm going to select this surface. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to click on that. Then I'm going to select this surface, click on the Follow Me tool, and click on that little spot right there. And that beveled all the way around. Easy peasy. The other way you can do is you can actually click on the shape you want and you can follow along that edge. But I promise you this is harder to do. You have to go all the way around the edge. And when you get to here, you got to make sure you go all the way until you get it to look like, and this is why it's really hard to do. And actually, I don't even think I'm going to be successful at it. I want to go to there. See, it's just not easy to do. It's very hard to do. It should have worked, by the way, and I'm willing to bet if I did that in here, it'll work. Around there, here, and then all the way to there, and it worked. Sketchup for Schools, not working so beautifully. Okay. So, once again, the better way to do that is to select the surface, select the tool, click on the button. But you need to remember that you have to have the tool available to just click on quickly so you can click, 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 click. If you have to go through the process of coming in here and selecting the tool, you will have lost the selection that you did earlier. So this is the second photograph that I'm going to expect my students to submit, is this. So the rest of you out there in the world, hopefully you've had a chance to learn a little bit about using the measuring tape and the Follow Me tool. All right. And I look forward to seeing you guys again for SketchUp for Schools number 9. All right, bye-bye.